Joshua definitely doesn't struggle, and that's against guys who are of a similar stature to him. When he won his first world title against Charles Martin, he was a taller heavyweight, not taller than AJ necessarily, but a heavyweight of taller stature, and he got that one with a very simple knockout. It was one of the easiest fights of Anthony Joshua's career. He had a war against Vladimir Klitschko, but again, he was highly competitive and eventually managed to get Klitschko out of there. In the Kubrat-Pulev fight, while it was a mixed performance, he did end up producing one of his best knockouts. Similarly against Robert Helenius, whilst AJ probably didn't put in one of his best performances again, it ended in another dramatic knockout. He was punch perfect against Otto Wallen in my opinion, and he had that absolutely devastating knockout win against Francis Ngannou, who of course, an absolutely enormous man with a fantastic chin, or so it seemed until Anthony Joshua got his hands on him. Even earlier on in his career against the likes of White, Brazil, and Molina, these were all taller heavyweights who AJ dealt with consummate ease. Of course, most recently he had that loss against Daniel Dubois, but we can't say that Daniel Dubois...
Reports say Tyson Fury shocked everyone when he suddenly walked into the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul press conference, instantly changing the whole atmosphere. With every camera pointed at him, Fury issued a bold warning to Joshua, insisting that Jake Paul is far more dangerous than people realize. He claimed that Jake has the power, discipline, and belief needed to pull off a massive upset. Fury even said he would put £1 million on Jake Paul to win, a statement that sent fans and analysts into a frenzy. Anthony Joshua has fired back at Tyson Fury's massive £1 million bet on Jake Paul knocking him out. Joshua made it clear that outside noise isn't his concern. He said he's focused only on himself.
Possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. I like how Jake Paul calls that full spectrum from...
and the work he needs to do in the ring. Joshua brushed off the bet entirely, saying he prefers to rely on his own abilities rather than get distracted by wagers, hype, or other people's predictions. His mindset is simple: show up, fight, get paid, and move forward. Some analysts, including a commentator named Henry from a podcast, have pointed out that Joshua has faced challenges with smaller fighters before. Jake Paul has tried to use this as an advantage. But the breakdown of Joshua's past fights shows that although smaller opponents can create certain problems, Joshua's technical skill, reach, and punching power usually balance out those moments. While debates continue about size differences and how they impact a match, Joshua's experience and preparation still make him an extremely tough opponent regardless of Jake's claims.
Jake Paul, all day, every day.
Why?
He knocks him out cold.
Would you be willing to take the bet with Tyson Fury that's saying that Jake is going to beat you?
No, I'm not worried about what Tyson Fury's got to say. That's what I'm saying. It ain't even about the money. I'm betting on myself.
Yep.
I'm focusing on myself. I'm fully betting on myself. I ain't worried about what anyone's got to say.
So when I'm bouncing around the ring, jabbing, weaving, and doing all of these things, I know I can pick them apart and score points and make this.
Jake Paul continues to present himself as fearless and ready for anything. But deep down, even he knows the size difference between him and Joshua is enormous. He jokes that he has to look up just to meet Joshua's eyes. Still, Jake tries to project the same confidence he carries into all his big events. He wants fans to believe that confidence alone can carry him through against a former world champion who has beaten top fighters. Jake frames this matchup as a lesson for younger athletes, showing that taking huge risks is part of ambition and growth. Matchroom CEO Frank Smith has added fuel to the fire by claiming that the Joshua versus Jake Paul fight is more spectacle than sport. He suggested the event is designed primarily for entertainment, not as a true test of boxing ability. According to him, the shock value of the matchup is what's being sold, not the competitive purity of the sport.
Manifested into reality. I'm here to shock the world, inspire the next generation. We're in the Heat arena. I'm a big Heat fan. Miami's on fire. This is my first pro fight, was in Miami against Gibb. I'm bringing that same energy here. First round KO.
The Schmo interviewed you there when you fought Gibb. It was on Fight TV. We've been with you along the way. Not very many times you're looking up at a face-off. So what did you make of looking up for one of the very first times at a face-off right here?
Just looking up at Daddy there and just seeing, you know, how big he is, and just my eyes were kind of going into his nipples and stuff. I kind of liked, and then basically I was just like, whoa, he's big in that. And then, yeah, I can't believe how tall he is.
Is this chain really on the line for the winner?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but I mean, I'm down. But he has to put something up too. There has to be something in it for me.
You say this is the biggest upset that's going to be in boxing history, right up there with 42-1 with Buster Douglas.
Yep.
What is the headline going to be when you knock this?
Board. Smith also expressed hope that a Joshua versus Fury fight could still happen, calling it the biggest bout boxing could make right now. He believes it may finally come together by 2026, though he noted the sport is full of talk and not every discussion becomes reality. Joe Rogan has called the matchup extremely dangerous, describing it as one of the wildest fight ideas he's heard in years. He explained that Joshua's size, power, and experience make him a frightening opponent, especially for someone with Jake Paul's background. Rogan stressed that no contract clause will reduce how hard Joshua hits or how skilled he is. He pointed to Joshua's knockout victory over Francis Ngannou as proof of the heavyweight's devastating power. Rogan believes that for Jake Paul, this isn't just a challenge. It has the potential to end very badly.
You know, a lot of people saying this can't be real, you know, Anthony Joshua going in there, it must be an exhibition, or Anthony Joshua's going to it's going to be choreographed and Anthony's going to carry him through a couple of rounds. I know Anthony Joshua, just to silence all those doubters, he's going to go in there to do a job, right?
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. People ask him why is it 8 rounds, not 10, because I don't think it goes past the first round. So it's, you know, regardless, it's quite irrelevant. I think he steps across the ring and knocks him out, you know. But we're in for a bit of fun, and everyone's going to be tuning in.
It might not be fun for Jake Paul. I mean, it's serious entertainment, is it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, look, I agree with you. I accept Jake Paul is absolutely mental for doing this, and I don't think he quite realises. I think he's got people around him who actually are saying, you know, Anthony Joshua's chinny. He said it in interviews. It's quite wild, but you know, if that's the world he wants to live in, he'll find out on December 19th.
And Frank, to finish with, the plan is still sometime in 2026, AJ against Tyson Fury, and Turki Al-Sheikh's working on that, is he?
That's the fight we want to make. That's the fight we want to see. Look, we're all guilty of doing a lot of talking over the years and that not happening. So I don't want to talk too much, but that is...
Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen have questioned Jake Paul's mindset heading into this fight. They feel Jake's relaxed attitude and loud confidence might hide the fact that he doesn't fully grasp how dangerous Joshua truly is. They worry that Jake is underestimating the jump in competition and that his inexperience could lead to serious trouble. While some admire Jake's bravery, Schaub and Callen believe this matchup demands respect, discipline, and a realistic understanding of risk, qualities they believe Jake may be overlooking. One of the most surprising opinions comes from former world champion and trainer Buddy McGirt. He sees the fight as more competitive than most people think. McGirt believes that Jake Paul's size, reach, and punching power are enough to keep the matchup interesting.
Joshua.
Boy. Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. Maybe we should watch the Francis Ngannou fight. So you could see, let's watch that real quick, just so you can see what Anthony Joshua is capable if he's fighting someone that's not in his league. Okay, look, Usyk beat him, and he beat him twice, and Andy Ruiz caught him in the first fight and dropped him and stopped him. It was spectacular. Andy Ruiz is super fucking talented.
To avoid seriously hurting Paul. This shows Joshua's awareness of the situation, balancing safety with professionalism. By controlling his timing and power, Joshua aims to keep the fight real and competitive, not reckless. This careful approach reflects a commitment to both sportsmanship and responsibility while still offering fans a legitimate contest. Aries Spears recently stirred debate after saying that if Jake Paul actually beats Anthony Joshua, the only explanation would be that the fight was fixed. Spears argued that Joshua's background, strength, and proven record put him far above the level of opponents Jake has faced. With such a huge gap in experience and ability, Spears believes a Paul victory would look suspicious to the public. His comments reignited the conversation about whether celebrity boxing can ever match the authenticity of real heavyweight competition. So what do you think? Does Jake Paul truly have a chance to shock the world and defeat Anthony Joshua? Or is the gap in size, experience, and skill simply too great to overcome? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Bloodline Boxing.